Today, we bring you what you need to hear.
But this is what they're going after. They're not going to
It has to be applicable to all situations.
No, it cannot be, because when the evidence...
Some people are not sure of 1 meal a day in a society with such huge potentials.
If a criminal passes that test, whichever means he used in passing, and you turn around to blame the citizen, for instance, people will ask you, were you not there?
Malaria kills Nigerians. Malaria.
News.
This is the World News. I am Annie Abdul Salam. In the headlines, Federal Executive
Sports and entertainment.
My name is Shubogu Najib. Straight up to football on the show.
This is Today. Every day, 24/7, 365. We are your official all-year radio station.
This is Today's Hustle. One show that embodies objectivity. We raise the bar in examining the good, the bad, the sordid, everything that has to do with society.
In America, you buy a big house and you pay gradually for 30 years of your life. That is politics. In Nigeria, you carry all your salary and go and rent one room. Bad politics.
Everything that has to do with
You
society.
must negotiate. If we don't negotiate, when a man is pushed to the wall, he bounces back with double levels. We have been pushed to the wall.
The Hustle. Every weekday from
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
on Today 95.1 FM.
All right, you're welcome. Still your premium talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. My name is Ifeimi Andrew. 15 minutes past 2 o'clock is what the time is, and this is the second half of today's hustle. Well, I wanted to talk about something different. In fact, I had like 3 different things to talk about, and I had to try to get in touch with my guests for all 3 of them to know which would come up, and at the end of the day settled for one particular one that is more of a social problem now, and we hope that we'll be speaking with a guest who's a doctor on this particular issue, a doctor of psychology, to really tell us psychology, and is also a psychiatrist, psychiatric doctor. But the point I'm making is, I think your mind should already be driving towards what I want to talk about on this half of the show. Most recently, former vice president of Nigeria, in the person of Atiku Abubakar, actually presidential candidate of the PDP, who is at the tribunal at the moment, was reacting to the increasing rate of suicide in the country. And I think it's no longer new to any one of us. Most recently, in my own state, Bayelsa State, someone lost his life or took his own life at Niger Delta University, a student of medicine. So it's really a thing to talk about. Here in the University of Port Harcourt, it's happened. We had the lady who took her life, another guy at Bori took his life, another person. Like, it's happening across the country now. It's becoming endemic. It's almost like the way to go. Anybody just feels bad or feels depressed or feels down, they just go that way, suicide. So the former vice president was talking about this, and he had certain things to say with the situation, and this is what he said. He made this statement on Tuesday. He said Nigerian parents and communities at large should look out for early signs of depression in lives of young people. He wasn't comfortable with the high rate of suicide. On his Twitter page, he wrote, and I quote, "The rate of suicide among our youth is worrisome. I believe that as parents and community, we need to pay close attention for early signs of depression among our young people, particularly in these depressing times." Are we in depressing times? I think I've discussed this with some people before I came on air sometime last week, and I was saying to a group of us while discussing the civil war and the state of the nation after the civil war. I think we haven't gotten anywhere close to what happened at that time. But even in that particular state, people did not want to take their lives. Suicide was not an option. Even in that state where there wasn't technology as advanced as it is now, there wasn't food during the war. It was barbaric, what people had to eat to survive, but people still did not choose to take their life. It was not an option for people. In fact, as Nigerians, suicide has never been a culture or an option. Most of the times we look at the Western worlds and we say to ourselves, what is wrong with these people? Why would you just take your life? Well, in Nigeria now, it's becoming a fashion. It's the direction to go to. It could be condemned in many ways. It is condemned in many ways. Some people find reasons to sympathize with families of victims of this disease, I like to call it now, that's creeping into the Nigerian society. Many who do not know, I'll tell you this. The high ranking of Nigeria, we are 5th annual suicide list. Nigeria is 5th. Although mental awareness is slowly becoming a mainstay of contemporary media, historically, Nigerians used to see depression as a white man's sickness and believe that beer could cure everything, so people get high when they are depressed. On July 29, 2019, Spectator Index published a World Health Organization research that ranked suicide per 100,000 per country. Suicide per 100,000 per country, and Nigeria was placed 5th with 15,000 suicide in every 100,000 suicides. 15,000. That's what Nigeria has. This report was 12th of December 2018. This was published 12th of December 2018. We ranked 5th. The list was topped by South Korea with 24 million, followed by Russia with 18 million, then India with a rate of 16 million, and Japan came 4th with 15 million, something over 15 million. 15 million for 100,000 is what Japan came with 4th, and Nigeria came 5th with 15,000 suicide in every 100,000. The top completed by the US, France, South Africa, Australia, and Canada. Saudi Arabia came 17th with a rate of 3,900. Now, leading factors for suicide. Other causes like terminal disease can lead to resignation and then suicide. It is common knowledge that 90% of people who commit suicide suffer from mental illness. That's what it used to be. Now, Nigeria also, with the rising rates of suicide, we do not have a program or any office that handles this situation. Not planned for. Maybe because we never thought it was going to be an issue with us. With an average of 1 every 40 seconds, according to WHO, suicide is topping the chart as the #1 killer. Even if that is a global index painting a general picture, a recent survey shows that many Nigerians have committed suicide in the last few years than in previous times. So if you look at from 2016 to now, 2016, 17, 18, and then now, the rate of suicide went upwards. That's what they are saying now. And it says that Nigerians, it said taboos and the stigma attached to the issue conspire to hush up incidents of suicide. A DJ killed himself in Lagos, remember. A lot of other people, a student of Ahmadu Bello University in Kaduna, also committed suicide in a hostel. We've had this, another one happened in Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi. You could go on and on with these thoughts. So now, the former vice president said that parents and communities should keep close eyes. Now, that's the point I'm coming from now. What really could be responsible for the increasing rate of suicide is some have come out to blame the government, says the government have not made the country or the economy or the environment conducive. It's difficult for people because economy is hard, because things are not being done properly, on and on and on. But if you look at the list I just mentioned for you, we came #5. Some of the countries who are #1, 2, 3, 4, and below us are civilized countries, first world countries, yet they suffer these. I mean, if you look at South Korea, even India is doing lesser than Russia. Japan is 4th. these countries are advanced. They are advanced technologically, economically, but then they still have a high rate of suicide. Does that go to say that it's not just suicide is not just as a result of perhaps mismanagement of the economy or bad government? Well, if you think of all of this, what really could be responsible? Because the angle that the former vice president was coming from was putting part of the blame on communities and Nigerian parents, and then he said depressing times, particularly in these depressing times, which would mean government. That's in his own idea. Recall that this issue has been coming on and on. So if we're saying this, what causes it? We'll be speaking with our guest via the phone to talk to us on this issue and how come suicide have crept into the Nigerian society, now becoming a thing that the average Nigerian does when they are in depression. It's not taking one's life has been something that Nigerians really don't do. Somebody would say no matter how hard it is, Nigerians can't just take their lives. But now we're seeing a very swift turn against that. It's just so there's a very painful. The boy drowned himself in Bielsa State, and it's all over. Everybody feeling bad and saying, how bad can it be? What could be the result? What could have led him up to that point where you do that? Is it the government? Is it the society? Is it parents? It is communities? What really is responsible for this upward movement that we are currently facing in Nigeria with regards to suicide? That is the big question at the moment. In 2003, the World Value Survey ranked Nigerians among the happiest people in the world. It's now different because with the rising case of suicide, it shows that that's no longer happening. So what must have changed between that time and now to put us where we are? That's a very serious question, and that's what we need to talk about at the moment. You know that Nigeria is among countries that do not have any national suicide prevention strategy. We don't have it. I don't think we've even thought about it. We don't have any national suicide prevention strategy in Nigeria. And now that we have the increasing rate of suicide, what steps can be taken to address it when we even haven't thought about setting up a strategy to handle it? It hasn't called the government's attention yet, I guess, because we haven't really heard the government speak strongly about this. So it's also another concern. Are we going to wait till we begin to share ratings with the likes of Russia, Japan, and the rest of them? I mean, Saudi Arabia are doing a great job. They're just around 3,000. That's really low annually, which I would say is still high, but low. So let's go to the phone lines first and get your thoughts before we get to our guests who would be speaking with us. By the way, today on the show, we would be speaking with Dr. Ogbe. He would be sharing with us some tips and also talking to us on possible reasons why we have the increasing rate of suicide in Nigeria. So Dr. Ogbe will be sharing more light. Ferdinand Ogbe will be sharing more light on that one. But let's go to our phone lines and get some of your contributions quickly. 0817 0000951 and 081095100951. Hello, good afternoon.
This is Mr. Zion.
Mr. Zion, you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
2003, we are ranked one of the most happiest people. From then till 2015, that was where the error, or that was when we breached that gap. From 2015 till date, the economy of Nigeria swapped into depression. That alone are values for the people who feel so frustrated. For now, what we are seeing is just the tips of the iceberg. We have not even gotten there yet. Because even the government has not yet.
The rate of suicide.
For you, some people cannot even pay house rent.
But I was also suggesting, if you looked at the figures, I mentioned some other countries that have a high level of suicide, and they are quite very developed than we are. So if you're saying the economy could be contributing to it.
When you are talking about a developed economy, how much does it impact on the people?
for it to
Are
be
you
very
saying that?
developed, the people would be impact upon because the people actually develop the economy in turn.
The people in turn develop the economy.
Yeah, so that's...
Do you know that average Nigerian student in tertiary institution, he or she pays her school fees 80%? 20% can come from a deg now, uncle, help me now. That alone is depressive. Now you are fighting against the closing date of the school portals to pay the school fees. Some uncles cannot even help you as a student. That alone is depression. You come out to the street to look at this so-called syndrome of my mates everywhere. Depression. You can't even have a relaxation. Before now, I prescribe that, look, we should not start having a comedy club. Maybe every meter drive or the state government can host a comedy club. It must not necessarily bring you bring the best of all comedians. Start from your grassroots comedians, the upcoming singers. Even if it is off key, let them come and sing off key. Let us just laugh and laugh away the sorrow. Even the Bible, the only Bible, prescribes laughter as a medicine to the soul. My brother, the government has a lot to do. And number two, we the people, how much love do we have for ourselves? How much trust do we develop for ourselves? Can I tell you my secrets? And can you protect my secrets? How much care do you have for me? How much care do I have for you? For once, can I borrow you 20,000 naira and you will give me on stipulated date? For once, if I come to you to borrow me money, and can you trust me enough to borrow me or to help me?
Okay,
These
Zion,
are
thank
the
you.
problems in the society. But before
Thank you,
I
Zion.
leave the floor, sir, I want to suggest if we can stop talking this society issue on radio, maybe it may help us. Ever since we started talking about it every day, people have now understood that, look, since others are committing suicide, me too, I can also commit. There is no problem. We all share the same problem. The government should step into action. We are having a serious problem right
All
now.
right,
in
thank
society.
you very much. Hello, good afternoon. All right, well, what's that call? We'll try to get in touch with our guest at the moment, Dr. Ogbe. As soon as we return, we'll take more of your phone calls and get your reactions with the increasing rate of suicide and the position of the former vice president on the issue of suicide, which is on the rise in Nigeria. But you can send your text messages to 0701 933 9962. We'll be right back. All right, we have our guest on the phone with us, Dr. Ferdinand Ogbe. Sir, you're welcome and good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you.
All right, quickly, would like to hear from you now. Suicide, it's on the rise in Nigeria. 2003, it says that Nigerians were voted to be one of the most happy people on earth. Now it's a different situation. And also in the country, we're aware that we are among the nations, or Nigeria is one of those countries without any national suicide prevention strategy. And with the increase of this kind of issue in society where many have thought that Nigerians cannot think of taking their lives, that's been the idea for long. But now it's beginning to come out gradually. And even the former vice president has said that one of the reasons for this is the depressing times we are going through. So we'd like you to clarify for us, what really would you say from a medical point of view is leading to the increase of suicide in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I think it's important for us to understand certain facts. And the first one is that depression or depressive disorder is a medical condition. And then you're unlikely to have any society that does not have someone that has a depressive disorder. Depressive disorder is a medical disease that is common in every society. It's therefore not unusual for Nigerians to experience this. Perhaps one of the reasons why we are becoming more aware of it that the increased amounts of reporting. The world is shrinking every day. You have social media, you can stay in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt, and influence thoughts in Zamfara State. That's how technology has expanded or shrunk the world, if you may say. So it's a common illness, and we know that about 20% of the general population experience depression at some point in their life. So it's an illness that's present everywhere. Having said that, are there things that can cause depression? We know that there are things that can precipitate the illness. We're not exactly sure what causes it, but we know that there are certain conditions. And like you rightly said, there has to be depressing times. That will represent the environmental factors. So stressful life events that result in loss. If a person experiences it and results in a loss, that person is likely to suffer a depressive illness. So loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of a marriage, loss of a relationship. These are loss situations that can result in depression. So yes, that's it. But there are also other environmental factors like genetics. We know that for a person whose mother or sister had a depressive illness, such a person is at higher risk of depression, of developing a depressive disorder. So genetics also plays a role. And then lastly, stressful life events. People that go through stressful life events, kidnapping, torture, rape, such persons are also at increased risk of developing a depressive disorder. So these are some of the reasons why people go.
Is there any contribution the economy or the government can make to increase rates of suicide that the government might have done knowingly or unknowingly to the increase?
To reduce, I guess you already said to reduce the rates of suicide. Yeah, there's a lot that every member of society can do to reduce the rates of suicide. Certainly, government has a major role. First and foremost, there needs to be increased funding to health, particularly mental health.
Okay.
Your account.
Well, that's as much we can get from our guest at the moment. We just got interrupted there. Unprecedented interruption. But then I think we get the point he was trying to say. We'll try to link up back with him again and get his contribution and get to know more from a professional point of view. But then again, from me and you and what the vice president has said, parents, communities, have we somehow inflicted this on ourselves? Have we somehow as a society contributed to what is currently eating up the society on our own part? Hello, Today95.1 FM. Good afternoon.
Hello, Andrew.
Lawson, you're welcome.
Seriously, I was shocked when you were giving out the statistics. If you look at the first 4 countries, those are developed countries. You see, people, both times, I don't know, the first caller, thank God you were able to halt him because he was actually progressing in error, attributing it to poverty, to poor, whatever, and all that. Those are developed countries. Look at even the amount you have in millions. Okay. So it's really. Then when you look at it, this thing, when we want to address things like this, we have to come down, look at it, and address it properly. We should not attach politics to it.
Okay,
the Bayelsa case.
Yes.
The Bayelsa case we are talking about is not because there is poverty. No, his problem wasn't poverty. He failed his MBBS exam. He failed the MBBS exam. And you know, MBBS, when you fail it, he didn't fail. He failed all the 3. And when you fail the 3, you cannot continue with the program. You have to go back and start from year 2. You take another course and start from year 2. And he doesn't know how he will do that. And he resorted, you understand, to suicide. The other cases, I know of 3 cases. The other one, the mother refused to give her money for exams and all that, and then trying to threaten the mother. She drank a snapper, and even when she was done, she said she